Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dreamhack Summer match. This is game 2 of a best of 3 series between Quantic and Evil Geniuses. Quantic will be on the Radiant side, EG will be on the Dire side, and if you have not watched game 1, you should probably check it out since it was a relatively interesting game 1. Quantic just managed to get a really strong draft and had some really solid play to back up their picks. They used Outworld Devourer and just overpowered EG when EG tried to go for a split pushing lineup headed by a Broodmother, but ultimately it did not work out against Quantic. So EG, they're one game away from elimination, and again, this is pretty much their biggest LAN tournament right now because they did not qualify for TI3, and this tournament overall has a bit of a larger prize pool than the EMS. Well, I don't know, I could be mistaken. But yeah, EG gonna definitely be playing with their hearts on their sleeves in this game as Quantic looking very strong throughout this tournament, really utilizing this newish patch to pick up a lot of interesting heroes, whether it be Viper or Treant, which they have been able to make great usage of to just really destroy the opposition. And this time Quantic have the first pick, and Quantic gonna ban out the Lone Druid. EG did pick up a Lone Druid in the previous game. It did quite a bit of damage, but the Lone Druid Bear did die a lot, but Quantic, obviously fearing the push, just gonna get rid of that hero entirely. And the annoying thing about dealing with Quantic is that you're sort of forced to ban the usual heroes like Wisp and Barrier just because a lot of teams have a dedicated Wisp and Barrier player. But Quantic have another really powerful hero in their arsenal, which is Treant Protector, and I don't think any team in the Western scene, or even the Eastern scene, really plays Treant Protector on the level of Quantic. So EG are going to be forced to leave two very powerful heroes left in the pool, Barrier as well as the Treant Protector. So we're going to have to see if EG dodges the Barrier ban and maybe tries to get one of the heroes for themselves. Maybe they're hoping Quantic will pick up the Treant Protector if they leave Barrier in the pool and EG can get their hands on Bat. But I don't know, I think Quantic are probably smart enough to realize that, alright, if Barrier is left in pool, we'll just pick him up because overall Barrier does have a bigger impact since Barrier can come back from a bit of a deficit and overall has more impact in later stages of the game. So EG, I don't know, it's a very difficult situation for them. They might be even forced to ban out the OD and try to leave both heroes left in the pool since OD did cause a lot of problems for them in the first game. That mid-solo control was just phenomenal. And so we're going to have to see how EG decides to cope with this. If they do let Quantic get the Treant Protector, they might be forced to pick up heroes similar to Gyrocopter, maybe even Pudge, but probably not a Pudge as they are going to bat the OD. And I've got to imagine Quantic will snatch up the Barrier since Barrier as a hero has more versatility. And I don't know if EGR has practiced with Treant Protector. Yeah, I think they did run Treant Protector with Bambo in the offlane. But still, will they devote their entire Dreamhack summer careers on the back of a Treant Protector where they have not run that hero in that many official matches? I don't know. So Quantic, they're going to snatch at the Barrier, and we're going to have to see how each responds. So EG, they probably know that Quantic will likely pick up the Treant Protector since they already have a one-game advantage, and they really want to show that they are strong and maybe get some momentum going into the Grand Finals. And maybe they're going to explore with some funky picks. Barrier, again, with Treant Protector, not really the pairing you see too often, but does allow Barrier to go in a lot more aggressively in the early stages of the game, allows him to dive a lot more freely. So I think Quantic will try to secure the Treant Protector if EG do not get their hands on this hero right now. So EG might have to sort of anticipate that if they don't themselves get the Treant Protector and go for heroes like Gyrocopter and heroes with a lot of damage over time that can really tear through that living armor. I keep calling it refraction. I mean, it might as well be refraction, but it's global and it can be applied to allies. I mean, in many situations, it's a lot better than refraction. As EG gonna get themselves a Gyrocopter as well as the Bane element, and Quantic immediately snatch up the Treant Protector as a response. And yeah, the Rocket Barrage, it does tear through that living armor relatively easily. Yeah, living armor at level 1 not really the best spell because it doesn't block too much damage. But still, you don't really want to waste too many hits of Rocket because that Rocket, not really the most reliable spell unless the target is completely isolated. I'm not too sure what the Bane choice was. Maybe to grab Barrier while he's blinking in, to Nightmare him or Fiend Script him, or maybe to back up some late game DPS that Quantic could potentially get since Quantic do not really have a physical DPS carry at the moment. And also Bane could be picked up just to sort of put the fear into Quantic's side that, okay, we have a Bane Elemental, we could potentially roll mid with some powerful supports and get an early game kill on your mid solo hero depending on who it'll be. So yeah, I think Bane overall is a very versatile support. I'm just not too sure what his point or what the point of his pickup was in this game, because usually Bane is picked up his counter to Lifestealer or Lone Druid, but in this game I don't know what hero he necessarily counters. EG bang out the puck as well as Naga Siren, so they're not anticipating Barrett to go mid. I'm gonna have to agree with them since Barrett is usually played as an offlaner since he can farm in the jungle so effectively and in a lot of situations pick up a 7 or 8 minute dagger and get that little 6 minute mark. So that's why you see Barrett often in the offlane, but Quantic always have the option of putting him in the mid lane if EG do not have a competent mid lane hero. And considering EG have already banned the puck themselves, they might not get anything like Queen of Pain. You know, Quantic banning out a lot of strong offlane heroes. They're banning out the Juggernaut, knowing that EG are very partial to the wards that Juggernaut pick. They really like having that healing ward, and they like having the damage that Juggernaut can provide towards them. And of course, the Blade Fury just completely mitigates that living armor entirely in a teamfight engagement, just because it ticks away so rapidly at those living armor charges that Juggernaut does beat Treant Protector pretty badly in a laning situation. Meanwhile, Quantic have banned out a lot of 60 Bambo here, so they're gonna do one more with banning out the Broodmother. Interesting that they decided to ban out the Broodmother rather than Nature's Prophet, since, well, I guess the reason why they did that is because Barrett does do very well against Nature's Prophet because he has a lot of mobility and can gank Nature's Prophet relatively easily. But I thought Quantic handled themselves pretty well against Broodmother. Yeah, Broodmother got some towers. Yeah, she pressured the top lane very repeatedly. But maybe the Spiderlings against the Living Armor, not really the best matchup. I imagine the Spiderlings do tear through that Living Armor quite rapidly, and so Treant can't really heal the towers as best as he possibly could. Maybe Quantic not really going to devote themselves into getting that much anti-Broodmother tech, or it'd be a lot of counter-pushing or a lot of lockdown. So they're going to get rid of the Broodmother problem. Interesting decision, and we're going to have to see how EG respond. As a lot of 60 Bambo heroes have been currently moved, I'm going to have to think that EG is going to go for a Nature's Prophet unless they want to aggressively try lane. And it might be for the better if EG does decide to go on the offensive, because Treant Protector, if he's denied a lot of levels, that living armor is just not going to be nearly as effective in the early stages of the game if he did get a lot of free experience in a defensive trial lane situation. EG going to pick up the Weaver, so they're going to deny Quantic that Weaver pick because Treant armor onto Weaver is probably one of the most annoying things in the world. It just gives Weaver so much survivability that he can pretty much do whatever he wants. And also, Weaver does alright against Barrier. I mean, the thing about it is Shukuchi has a 0.25 second fade time, so Barrier should always get the lasso. But if Weaver builds into a natural Lincoln Sphere, then lasso won't really affect the Weaver, and Overgrowth doesn't affect the Weaver either, because Overgrowth is an entangling based spell, and entangling based spells do get mitigated by Lincoln Sphere. Of course, if you stack them, one of them will go through the Lincoln Sphere, but still, I like this Weaver choice quite a bit for EG. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is the damage in the early game, because Bane, not really the most damaging support, and I've got to think Gyrocopter will farm quite a bit, and Weaver, until he gets some points in the Swarm, he won't really have that many methods of breaking through the living armor. Once he gets a Swarm, yeah, that Swarm will take away that living armor and just really do a lot of damage, but until then, Weaver won't really be the best option. Is Quantic going to pick up the Viper? So this looks to be a mid lane Viper up against the... well, I don't know. EG could put the Weaver in the mid lane, and Weaver could also go into a different laning situation if EG decide to aggressively try themselves, as it's really difficult to call the lanes at this stage. But I've got to think Viper will go to the mid lane for Quantic. Barrel will likely go into the off lane, and Quantic will try to run a defensive try themselves.
10 seconds remaining.
But we're going to have to see. Meanwhile, EG's lane is a lot more versatile, so I'm liking EG's versatility a bit. The problem is that Viper's so damn tanky. Is EG going to pick up the Warlock, and this definitely means that EG are going to go aggressive with one of their lanes because they have so many experienced pen heroes. And we're going to have to see how Quantic respond to this. Will they pick up somebody who builds into a natural Diffusal Blade? I mean, Naga has already been taken. I don't think this is really a good lineup for PL, so which other heroes can pick up Diffusal Blade? I guess Shao Demon with that purge can purge through the golems relatively easily, and Quantic do need support. So Shao Demon could be a solid option, but the problem is if Warlock gets a lot of free farm in the middle lane, and I don't know if Viper necessarily is the best hero to deal with Warlock, since Warlock is quite tanky and has a lot of heal, and it can withstand a lot of Warlock stress, and I think Barrett does stomp Warlock on the other hand, so Quantic might want to try to get that matchup instead. So it's really difficult to say what Quantic will do, but I think they want to have one source of purge, and I think Shao Demon is a good response, considering Quantic do need another support. But still, if Warlock ever does get the Aghanim Scepter, Shao Demon can't, of course, cast 2 purges unless he gets a Refresh Orb. So they need probably another hero just in case Shao Demon is locked down for quite a bit and can't really get off the first or the second purge. Well, I mean, you can't get off the second purge regardless, but Still, if there is an extra golem running about, if EG does build into the Aghanim Scepter, they might want to get a natural diffusable carrier, as Quantic will indeed get the Shadow Demon. And right now, currently for EG, they have a really strong teamfight lineup. They are lacking a bit in terms of early game DPS, they are lacking a bit in terms of mobility, bar the Weaver. But they have a really strong 5-man lineup, and one of the best ways to deal with the Warlock lineup is just to split push against it, but Quantic really don't have the strongest split pushers. They have more of a in-your-face lineup with Barra initiating with Viper, trying to deal as much damage over time as possible, and Treant nor Shadow Demon are really the most mobile supports. So this Warlock pick looking reasonably effective. The question is, will he get enough farm? And we'll see if Quantic recognize the matchup, because I've got to imagine that Viper does not do nearly as well against Warlock as Barra does, since Warlock is so immobile and Barra can just stack napalms basically for free, and Warlock will be forced to retreat. So I think Quantic should try to get the matchup for Barra up against Warlock, and if they can get that, then Warlock could potentially be shut down and the Aghanim Scepter could be severely delayed. And even if Warlock does land against Viper, well, they have a pretty powerful roamer in the form of Shadow Demon. Yeah, I mean, the only sort of backup DPS we will have is Viper, but Viper can get enough slowing effects that Warlock could potentially be killed off if Shadow Demon does roam himself towards mid lane. But then again, EG have a strong roaming support themselves in the form of Bane Elemental. And I like this Quantic event quite a bit. They recognize that EG are definitely going to run some sort of aggressive lane. They're going to get rid of Undying, because Undying is one of the better sort of tri-lane heroes. And EG, their trial would compose of 2 ranged heroes, so they would have room for a melee hero. Meanwhile, EG, they aren't the Lifestealer, so I guess they won't have the Abyssal Blade to deal with Gyrocopter in a man v team fight. But I don't know, Bane does usually pretty well against Lifestealer, as EG going to pick up the Vengeful Spirit, so they want to have a bit of aura on their side. And they also have the swap to immediately break the lasso if Barra jumps in, but Quantic going to pick up the Mirana. Really interesting choice, and I think the biggest reason why they picked up Mirana is because they wanted a natural diffusal blade carrier that can survive, and Mirana is one of those heroes. She builds into a fusel blade really nicely, and she is very survivable for the most part. And the problem with Mirana is usually she just takes way too long to build up. She needs so many items in comparison to other hard carries, but in this game, if EG don't really put enough pressure, Sakshka, who's playing the Mirana, should be able to get off to a reasonable start. But I guess we'll interest the players and teams as EG rolling out immediately. Are they going to smoke up? Looks like Vitas does have smoke, as does Fear, so we'll see if EG does smoke up and try to challenge the tri-lane of Quantic and play some very aggressive wards to block off any pull spawns and mitigate Treant's experience growth. But interesting, the players and teams are going to have Golbak playing the Treant Protector, Funzy's playing the Viper, Sakshka is playing the Mirana, fucking Mad is playing the Shadow Demon, and Silent's playing the Barra. Interesting, so looks like Silent is actually going to the mid lane with the Barra. A really interesting decision, as Silent usually plays the hard carry in the challenge situation, or Sakshka does, as looks like EG going to come in, but Beta is playing the Valiant Elemental. Yeah, Sexy Bamboo is playing the Gyrocopter, Fear is playing the Vengeful Spirit, Jo is playing the Weaver, and Demon is playing the Warlock, as the ward has been played by Betas. Here comes a Nightmare, and I don't know if there's much that Quantic can do to protect Golbak in this situation. They are going to try to isolate Golbak, they will get the stomp, they will drop Fatal Bounce as well, ushering away fucking Mad, and EG just going to back off immediately after picking up first blood. Nice kill being picked up by EG, as they're going to get a slight experience boost over the Treant Protector, and if they do run aggressive challenge, that slight experience boost might mean that they can potentially challenge Quantic with their own aggressive challenge, because Treant will be underleveled in comparison. The unfortunate thing for EG is that the ward was immediately countered by Quantic with the Sentry ward, and EG weren't really able to block off this pulse sound, so Quantic Sports do have a reliable way to get experience on the back of those pulls, and EG Sports, they're alright in terms of challenging the pull. I mean, Vengeful Spirit has a lot of range with that Howl of Terror, and Bane can come in with a Nightmare to sort of keep that support back. But still, I don't know if they can really keep Treant and Shadow Demon back, since those heroes are really defensive for the most part. You know, Viper vs Weaver, this matchup, I'm not really too sure who wins it. I've got to think that... I think in this game, Funzy will try to pick up 1 point to cross skin. He has living armor, which can mitigate a lot of harassment, but in this game, I think he really needs to pick up at least 1 level. I mean, the first game we saw Funzy's Viper, he didn't pick up any levels into Cross Skin until level 8, I think. But in this game, I think he should pick up at least 1 level, because Shikuchi harassment will get slowed down a bit, and Weaver, once he's outside Shikuchi, is actually pretty slow, and does take quite a bit of damage from that Cross Skin. But I gotta imagine Viper does reasonably well in this match, because he has better range, and Weaver can't really spam Shikuchi until he does manage to get those higher levels. But the Gemini attack might allow Weaver to get himself back in lane, but I gotta think Viper does win this lane quite handily. Meanwhile, I know this mid lane matchup. I know Barret destroys Warlock, since Warlock is so incredibly immobile that as soon as 3 napalm stacks are stacked onto Demon, Demon's gonna have to back off, gonna forfeit lane presence, and just really won't ever be able to have rune control since Warlock doesn't really have that many AoE spells apart from Fatal Bonds. And yeah, you get a lot of stacks of napalm up on him, but still that's not going to be enough for his Demon. I actually picked up a very fast foot speed. This is a really smart decision by Demon because this will help mitigate the threat that Sound can go in with that Firefly and just really try to kill Demon off in the early levels of the game. But still, enough napalm stacks will mean the end of Demon, and Sound will have just unlimited lane control. And even though Warlock has pretty high base damage as well as a good attack animation, once he gets slowed on by his napalm stacks, really just has to back off and wait for those napalm stacks to fade away. And now Demon has the magic stick, so he can spam a bit more of his spells, but still, it's not going to be a pretty matchup for Warlock under any sense of the word. Meanwhile, EG going to retreat. They are pulling Fear up to the defensive lane, and instead going to dual lane with Bambo as well as Beatus. So I guess they want to get Venture Spirit leveled up. Maybe they recognized with their current laning setup they wouldn't really be able to challenge Shadow Demon Tree and Mirana, who are just very survivable. So I guess they want to get as much experience as possible. I'm just going to throw the bottom lane towards the Wolves, knowing that they probably won't be in a lot of trouble. And yeah, Disruption to Mirana Arrow does do a lot of damage, but still there's a Nightmare to slow down the approach of Quantic. So I'm not too sure how I feel about the sling decision. I think it's more so to protect Jail and try to give him as much farm as possible. But if that's the case, they really won't be able to challenge Mirana by any measure. And Mirana with a lot of free farm can do a lot of damage because he's so survivable. Doesn't really need to build into that many survivability items. And this Mirana should receive uninterrupted free farm, and we'll probably get a fast Diffusal Blade. Meanwhile, Funzy gonna dive in very aggressively. Funzy gonna get that living armor drained towards him, and you can see that living armor gonna be popped once again, but it's immediately gonna be drained, as I think that's only level 1 living armor. Funzy's gonna be chased down. Jo is gonna come in, gonna do an auto attack as Funzy had his salve cancelled, and Jo is gonna come in with a very nice kill. It's complete out of mana, but very well worth it. Nicely done by Fear as well as Jo, as Fear has managed to hit level 4 on the back of those kills in the early game, and Jo has managed to get himself level 4 as well. And you can see level 1 living armor just really not that effective as a spell. But once Treant starts getting more and more levels, those kills are going to become a lot less frequent for EG. Meanwhile, Beta is going to stack these Ancients, but unfortunately for Gyrocopter, since that flat can cooldown nerf has happened, he just won't be able to kill these Ancients off. I mean, these Ancients will just regenerate HP, considering Gyrocopter's damage at this stage in the game is just so very low. And looks like Warlock recognizes that he can't really beat Barret to the rune because Barret has an napalm. Interesting about Barret went, as Bane could potentially be in a lot of trouble. He's going to get disrupted. Sound will come in, policy invisibility will pop the Firefly as well. So now we see a Firefly invisible Barret. He's going to try to get another napalm stack, I gotta imagine. Doesn't have any points in the flame break, so he can't push Beatus back. If he had a point in flame break, I think Beatus would most likely have been screwed. But Barret went for a very much lane-centric build. 10 on conserving mana because Flame Breaker just costs so much mana at this stage. So instead, Sound just going to back off, recoup his losses, and just go back to dominating lane, which he is doing in spades at this point. As 6 stacks are going down to Demon, Sound is just really controlling this middle lane magnificently. Even though Demon's not that far behind in terms of experience, Sound will just pull more and more ahead, especially since Demon doesn't have that much mana. Sound did pick up his ball. I had to be a bit careful since that ball was lying on the ground, but this is just not a good matchup for Warlock under any sense of the word. But EG have been able to recover on the top lane. I thought this lane would go in favor of Viper, but since Fear did rotate to help out Weaver, Weaver is getting a lot of free farm, and will probably build into towards the Lincoln Sphere to negate the lasso as well as negate the overgrowth. And Funzy level 5, as Funzy gonna be in a bit of trouble. Fear's gonna come with the magic missile, and the good thing about Venture Spirit is that she can cast multiple stuns in one engagement, but Funzy gonna get away as the teleport was cancelled by EG to dissuade EG, was cancelled by Quantic to dissuade EG from dying in. And Jo took the bait, didn't follow up, and Funzy is allowed to live for now. But still, he's gonna have to walk a long way, and Viper is very slow, so it'll be a long time before he gets back into experience range. Meanwhile, Demon just forced to guess runes is not even level 6. Meanwhile, Barret getting very close to that level 7. And if he gets enough napalm stacks, this could potentially be the end of Warlock, because one Flaming Lasso with the levels of Firefly will just kill off Warlock very easily, no matter how tanky and no matter how many points in heal Warlock does have. You know, interesting decision by Quantic. They're going to farm up Shadow in a bit just to get him some boot speed, because Sakshka is just having a field day in terms of farm. And they know Gyrocopter is just not receiving any farm whatsoever. They don't see him in any lanes, and they know Gyrocopter's farm in the jungle at this stage is not going to be very useful. And yeah, Bambo is trying to do his best to clear out these jungle camps, but that flat cannon nerf really taking its toll onto this Gyrocopter. But he will eventually pick up some form of experience, but he needs to clear these up ASAP before Quantic takes control of the map and potentially denies this huge stack of Ancients towards the Gyrocopter. You got Warlock with the Illusion just trying to farm up. We'll see what he goes for. Could potentially go for Arcane Boots. I've seen a lot of mid-soul Warlocks go for the Mechanism, but I've got to imagine this game Demon wants to get the Aghanim Scepter up as soon as he possibly can, because he knows there is a purge from the Shouting, and he knows Mirana can build in towards that Diffusal Blade. So the sooner you get the Aghanim Scepter, the less time EG does have to react with their own purges. Meanwhile, Bambo picking up some much needed gold in the jungle, level 4, but he is really struggling in comparison towards Sakshka, the Mirana, his counterpart on the opposing lane. Meanwhile, we are not having that big of a farm lead in comparison to Viper, only outfarming the Viper by 9 CS, even with Adventure Spirit backing him up with the lane support. And that just shows you Viper in general is a better laner. Sound taking a lot of tower ass, and Demon has 3 stacks of napalm. Demon could be in a lot of trouble. The Firefly is going to be used as here comes the teleport. Demon going to drop the chaotic offering as the Moonlight Shadow will be popped. Sound looking to escape on another. Should be able to escape successfully as Jared did teleport himself in, and very nicely done by Quantic. As, yeah, they didn't get the kill on Demon, but they forced the rock, and they forced a couple teleports, and that rock is going to be on cooldown for the next 2 minutes and some. And keep in mind, Barrier didn't even use his Flaming Lasso, so the next time Barrier goes for a Flaming Lasso kill, he doesn't really have to be worried about a teleport or a Warlock dropping the ultimate. He can just go in a lot more freely and potentially pick up a very easy kill. And you can see Barrier making his way towards a very fast dagger. He's already picked up all his core items, and he's picked up a multitude of teleport scrolls. And at this rate, he should still pick up a 12-minute dagger. So this Barrier is looking to have a huge impact in this game. Meanwhile, Funzy up on the top lane, the Viper, going with a very standard laning Viper build. I don't think he really needs to max Corrosive Skin. Yes, I'm a big advocate on maxing Corrosive Skin after getting 3 points to the Poison Attack, 1 point to Nether Toxin, 1 point to Ultimate, and 1 point to Corrosive Skin by level 6. But in this case, since you have Living Armor, I don't think you really need to max Corrosive Skin. As Barrier gonna be in a bit of trouble. Looks like EG are flanking him. Fear does have Invisibility Rune, as the invisibility is not going to be dispelled. Here comes Jail, going to do a lot of harassing onto Silent. The Magic Missile is going to come in. Silent will be in a lot of trouble. The Living Armor going to heal up Silent to a pretty big degree as the pause is going to come through. And this is a level 3 Living Armor, but still, I think Silent is going to likely be screwed because his Firefly timed out at the worst possible instant. And yes, another stun should spell the end of Silent in this engagement. Nice Flame Break by Silent, but the swap by Fear going to come in and clean up the Barrier, as Fear does pick up a very nice kill and has been able to hit a very fast level 7. So Venture Spirit could potentially go into a semi-carry build, and Venture Spirit does hurt quite a bit. So good ganks by EG, taking a 3-0 advantage. The only problem with them is that Barrier will eventually get his dagger, since he just dominated the mid lane so hard, and Sakshka is not being touched whatsoever on this bottom lane. Meanwhile, Bambo just having a miserable time in terms of farm. Only level 5, meanwhile Sakshka level 8. Meanwhile, Demon did go for the point boosters, so I don't know if this is going to be an Aghanim Scepter Rush or he just wanted a bit of extra HP as well as mana. I've got to imagine this will be an Aghanim Scepter Rush, as now he can plant himself in the mid lane a bit more safely, and if Barrier does initiate, he can potentially survive long enough for teleports to come in and probably save his life. And the danger point for Warlock is now passed because his ultimate is going to be back online for the next engagement, so EG going to be in a reasonably solid position. But Silent has Smoke to see. He's going for an attempt onto Demon. His Demon's going to get himself purged. Funzy is going to come in with a lot of slow damage, and Demon's going to most likely be screwed as here comes the damage. Fear going to get the swap onto Demon, as Silent going to come in with the lasso. Will drag Demon, but the Nightmare will be dropped by Vitas. Looks like the Nightmare was dispelled successfully as the Chaotic Offering will be dropped. Demon is going to be the first one to die in this engagement, and can Jail catch up to Silent? Silent just juking around as best he possibly can, stacking napalms to cover the retreat of his allies, and it seems like Quantic will be able to escape pretty easily from this engagement. So good kill being picked up by Quantic. They forced a lot of teleports. They forced a lot of reaction from EG, and they managed to get one kill on the Warlock, who didn't have that much gold and didn't lose that much gold. But still, burning that ultimate at this stage in the game is just going to be very, very useful for Quantic in future engagements, since that ultimate will be on cooldown. And will force EG to play a lot more passively as a result. Barrier still farming up. I'm a bit surprised Quantic not stacking the jungle to try to get Barrier faster dagger. Well, as I say that, the jungle has actually been stacked once or twice with this big camp being stacked up, and that's going to be a lot of farm going Barrier's way, and he is going to make his way towards that very fast dagger. He's going to stack the scamp once more, as Gowak will probably stack the scamp and try to get Barrier's dagger up. And you can see Quantic starting to get the items online. Jail is going to go for the Lincoln Sphere, it seems like, as he picked up the treads. And one thing that's good about EG's lamp is that they have a mobile here in the form of Weaver, and other than Lasso, they don't really have any way to keep Weaver in place outside of Overgrowth. So once Lincoln Sphere does come online, Weaver can be pretty much safe from a lot of harassment. The problem with EG's lamp is that they don't have... I don't know if they have enough damage to take down the Heroes of Quantic with living armor. Yeah, they have the Infernal damage that can melt through their fraction, or the living armor. But still, Quantic's heroes in general are very tanky apart from the Shadow Demon. And fucking Mad just continuing to play swords. He has now that level 6, so now he can purge those golems as soon as they come down onto Quantic's heads. Sakshika picking up a casual bracer. Very standard these days for carry players to pick up a bracer, just to give themselves a nice boost in terms of stats, give themselves a good amount of HP, and just overall help them farm, help them be a bit safer before they build up towards the next time. And I think in Mirana's case it will be the fast defuse blade as Warlock. Gonna get initiated on. Here comes Viper Strike as Demon's gonna be slowed by a tremendous degree. The Purge and the Soul Catcher gonna be dropped on Demon. He's gonna take so much damage, but Warlock's so damn tanky. Will be able to escape for now. He's gonna drop the Fatal Bonds, but he does not have his ultimate online. And Moonlight Shadow will be popped yet again. Meanwhile, Jail was able to pick up a kill onto fucking Mad the Shadow Demon, and Funzy will be driven away because of Sentry Ward. But what the heck was that? How come the stun didn't get popped onto Funzy? Oh, he escaped the Sentry Ward range while he's still invisible. That's why. So that's why Funzy did not get stun up. So very, very fortunate for Funzy. And EG, they are reacting to these teleports with pretty much everybody, so they're actually losing a bit of gold from their supports. But I think that was worth it to protect Demon, because he does want to get the Aghanim Scepter ASAP, and he is almost halfway there at this point. The bottom lane's silent, gonna have that dagger online. Bambo just continue to farm Ancients, just being thrown to the wolf, saying, Bambo, just do what you can, try to get whatever farm you possibly can get.
Middle tower is under attack.
And EG, in terms of the late game teamfight, they have Warlock, they have Gyrocopter, they have Vengeful Spirit, who scales very well. EG has a really, really strong scaling lineup, so I think EG, when it comes down to late game situation, can potentially go there. Because Quantic, they have some late game fighters as well, but I don't think they really match up well towards EG's fighters. As Smoke to see will be popped by Quantic. Demon knows to stay very far back, but the ward will be dropped by fucking Matt. He's gonna spot Demon, gonna get the Soul Catcher as well. Barry's gonna blink it with the last of the arrow that's gonna be perfectly pinpointed onto Demon. Demon's gonna die. And it looks like he gave up a significant amount of gold as well as living armor just ticking in. You can see we were doing next to nothing to fucking Mad, as fucking Mad just gonna draw so much aggro. And Quantic's gonna pick up a 2-for-1 this Gaijin. Demon looks like he actually bobbed back. He wants to fight with his ultimate, as Viper is going next one to pick up a kill, but Funzy is going to trade his life in exchange. And Bambo is here as well, so it's going to be a 2-for-3. I don't think Demon necessarily wanted to buy or needed to buy back, but he did buy back. And if EG can pick up a tower, it might be worth it, but Treant's still alive and he still has 11 hours, so I don't think EG can actually push this tower. They don't really have the strongest pushers, and fucking Mad is here on the defense with Shadow Poison. So I think that buyback for Demon was just a bit miscalculated. Likely he was anticipating a bit more of a clustered team fight, but Quantic used their mobility to just escape any situation that could put them in danger of a chaotic offering, and were able to just kite EG away. So good fight for Quantic, and Bambo just driven away from his Ancients for now. Gonna get a bit of farm, gonna actually go for the drums, it seems like, trying to get the mobility online, because nobody on the side of EG is gonna go for the drums at this stage, apart from Bambo. Meanwhile, JF continuing to farm up, likely gonna go into the Lincoln Sphere, getting very close to that ultimate orb. And actually he's gonna teleport mid because Chaotic Offering was dropped. Fucking Mad will be the first one to die, but Moonlight Shadow just continuing to be spammed. means that all these small engagements, Quantic are only losing 1 or 2 heroes in comparison to their whole team. We'll see if Quantic have enough muscle to muster down this tier 1 middle. As napalms will be stacked, flame break will be used as the arrow gonna fly and it's gonna whiff just barely, and Treant just gonna allow this tower to take so much extra damage. Even will be lasted once again, but immediate swap out by Fear, and that's why Venture Sphere was picked up in this game. As you can see, that barrier lasso just did next to nothing, but in the end, Quantic, they're gonna defend their tower, and I think that's all they wanted. And actually, Quantic gonna go on the offensive. They know a lot of EG's main ultimates are down. And here comes the engagement. Looks like the Purge was able to catch out the Golem, so that's going to be a nice bounty towards Shadow Demon. Going to allow him to pick up some wards. And here comes the Barrier to blink in. He doesn't have the lassos since he already on Demon, but the Flame Break will push Demon back. Seems like EG did lose their tier 1 mid as the Viper Strike will be popped. Call out going to cover EG's retreat. Can they actually escape? Viper just slowing down Demon by such a huge degree. Nightmare going to protect Demon for now, and very nicely done by Beat as Jail will be back on the offensive, just trying to do whatever he can, but the Sentry going to dissuade Jail from going back in. So EG going to be very lucky to not lose anybody in that engagement, but Quantic still got what they came for. They got their tier 1, and they're going to go right back to farming. And you can see Quantic in the grand scheme of things are out farming EG quite heavily. And the Diffuse Light is almost finished up on the Mirana, so even if Shadow Demon's not in the engagement, and even if Demon picks up a very fast Aghanim's, that Diffuse Light will just mitigate the whole usefulness of the Infernals being dropped.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And EG just trying to defend with their whole team. I think they should probably be split pushing and farming up because they're losing a lot of gold in the meantime. Meanwhile, Goldblack is going to farm with his Dream Protector, going to build him towards Mechanism, and this is going to be tanky as all hell tree. And it looks like EG, since they do have a Warlock, they want to group up and take these team fights. They don't yet have the ultimate back online. But you can see Demon, that buyback actually hurting him quite a bit because now it's actually difficult for a Warlock to farm up, and Flamebreak going to defend this tower for now, as well as the Firefly Silent. Could potentially be in a bit of trouble, but Funzy will likely kill off this missile. And Barrier will be safe for now. The tower going to get Living Armored up, and there goes that push. Living Armor, ladies and gentlemen. Spell. But EG not going to be dissuaded just yet. Fear trying to get in position for a swap, but the Moonlight Shadow will be popped, and this tier 1 tower will be given up ultimately by Quantic, as EG does manage to take the first tower of the game, and now they have to go back to defend their tier 1 on the top lane. Overall, that wasn't the worst stage for Quantic because they got a lot of farm up on fucking Mad. I mean, not the biggest deal, but any bit of experience that you can get is going to be really, really useful for Quantic. You know, Silent gonna build towards that 4-staff Sakshka. He doesn't have. And we're back as random crashes for Dota 2 for the win. But Sakshka, interesting enough, does not yet have his Diffuse Blade despite getting a pretty decent amount of farm. As Barrier gonna blink in, will snag Bambo, but good reactions by Fear will immediately save Bambo. Demon is gonna get arrowed, unfortunately for him, but Silent will likely get killed off in exchange. Silent is going to take a lot of magic 1 damage. Actually going to escape just by skipping his teeth as Mirana does pick up a kill on Gyrocopter. Warlock going to pick up a huge double kill with that Golem. And that's going to be really, really useful for EG because Demon desperately need that farm. And he's just going to get another component of the Aghanim Scepter online. And we can see, or we'll have to see if Quantic can actually defend this tier 1 tower middle. As now without Batter and without Mirana, I don't know if it's looking good for Quantic.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
At least in terms of defending the tower. As EG going to push in, you can see the physical harassment just going to drain through whatever living armor charges Treant decides to put up on the tower, and it seems like Treant not even going to bother as the tower will inevitably
Radiant's
fall.
middle tower has fallen.
And Funzy tried to pressure the bottom tower in exchange, but wasn't able to do that, and so you can see this Vengeance Spirit just really working out for EG. Swaps immediately breaking Barrier's lasso, and then just following up with the Chaotic Offering just means that Barrier is really having a very difficult time getting those initiations off. But Force Staff is going to be on its way, and once Barrier does get the Force Staff, you will have a lot more range to work with, even though Vengeance Spirit has a bit of a long range with swap, 650 rather than 600 because of the buff. So maybe it might be more prudent for Barrett to grab Vengeance Sphere if you can spot him out. But you can see Jao getting a lot of farm is working his way towards the Lincoln Sphere. And if you check out the gold as well as experience, the Rain have a slight gold advantage because of their superior farm. They have a bigger experience advantage because EG are constantly grouping up and trying to help them out as much as possible. And yes, that is giving EG a nice lead. And terms of the kill count, but they are losing quite heavily in terms of experience as a result. Meanwhile, Gyrocopter just taking a lot of damage from the Ancients. We'll see what he goes for. Will it be a split push oriented build? Since I don't know if Gyrocopter is really helping out his teammate that much. I don't really think he needs BKB. There's so many spells on the side of Quantic that go through the BKB. Is fucking mad gonna get successful D-ward off. And Beat is just gonna have to angrily shake his non-existent fist. As Golbak will take a stun right to the chin. The dust will be popped as Jo is gonna go in. Bane does pick up the last hit. So well concocted gank by EG. They were forced to burn about dust, but still very much worth it. And now they won't have to deal with the Mirana ultimate. As Bambo just gonna back that on out of there, gonna drop the call down to clear as many creeps as possible, knowing that the Moonlight Shadow could possibly lead to initiation. So EG playing really, really solidly in this game. And Demon's starting to make his way up to the Aghanim Scepter. The only problem is that the Diffusal Blade as well as the Shouty and Purge will be online, and that will mean 2 dead golems coming in very, very soon. Checking out the net worth, you can see Jo is on top of the leaderboard. And, the tower is going to get pushed. Seems like Bambo was jumped on, and he will get grabbed by the barrier. You can see everybody on the side of EG will actually try to help out and try to get some backup kills. Funzy going to take a lot of damage, but Viper pretty tanky, and Venture Spirit will be forced to burn it off. No, he won't, as Silent is going to blink on out to safety. 1-for-1, a Viper for Gyrocopter. I think that was worth it for Quantic since they did force out 4 teleports by EG. And I've got to wonder if EG just mass teleporting every single time an engagement happens is gonna help them. I think it's actually hurting them because they're losing a lot of gold in exchange, and Quantic are just climbing further and further ahead in terms of experience graph. And you can see this Mirana is starting to get pretty powerful. She's gonna build in towards, it looks like a BKB, as it seems like she just wants to bulk up as much as possible. That Mirana wants to get that Tiger onto steroids. And yeah, I think EG, all these teleports are costing them a bit in terms of farm, but still, they have picked up 11 kills. They have defended all but 2 of their towers. And EG, for the most part, are playing very well coordinated. Actually, the tower count, if you look at it, is pretty much even. But the farm discrepancy is starting to rise on EG. And the Aghanim Scepter is now going to be finished on Demon. He is level 11, so his ultimates will hurt. But still, the Diffuse Blade is also the Purge. They really have to focus on killing the Shadow Demon so they can at least ignore 1 Purge. But now EG expect for them to may attempt to push in, try to get map control, maybe kill off this tier 1 bottom, or try to take a Roshan with this Aghanim Scepter being fished up on the Warlock, because they just will have a big advantage in these teamfight scenarios with that double golem being picked up. Meanwhile, EG gonna pop a smoker seat, grouping up, trying to get a kill concocted, as Golbak has finished the mechanism. Golbak just farming all day and all night with the Stream Protector, just recognizing that EG are just constantly grouped up. The arrow going to scout the Roshan, but EG, since they are smoked up, will dodge out of range of the arrow, and Viper could potentially be in a bit of trouble. EG going to drop in a very, very offensive observer ward. It seems like Quantic recognized that EG are likely smoked up, not going to take the bait for now, instead farming up and trying to come out ahead in terms of experience. And Golbak could potentially be in a bit of trouble. He will be spotted out as the Terror will get him revealed. Here comes the Brain Sap. The dust will be used as Golbak was out of the range of the dust, and Golbak will escape. So in the end, that was just a bit of a waste of time for EG as they dropped a lot of wards, but ultimately got 0 experience, and Quantic will take that time to get further and further ahead in terms of experience graph. Shouting could potentially be in Lacho, just scouting out the Shadow Poison, but the Storm is going to come in. Fucking Mad just going to try to teleport him out of there, and we'll be able to escape. I guess the ward would have spied out the stunners on the side of EG, as I guess this ward was just recently placed by Shad even. But you can see Quantic, since they know EG wants to fight up as a team, since they do have a Warlock, just split pushing and out experiencing as well as out farming EG, and that's really coming out in their favor. If you check out the levels, Jo is the only one on the side of EG who has a pretty high level. You can see the rest of EG lagging very far behind. Silent just saying, "Go away, Demon, these are my creeps," as he does exert control over the neutrals. Fucking Matt just continue to D-ward, and he does have a lot of gold since he has been receiving a lot of farm in exchange. Funzy, aspect of the Aghanim Scepter himself, interesting decision for Viper to go Aghanims, as maybe he thinks EG won't enough damage to kill him off, and this Viper is very, very tanky. So he can drop multiple Viper Strikes in a single team fight, since that Viper Strike now has a 12-second cooldown as well as a 900 cast range, which might actually be the bigger deal. But still, the fact that he can cast it twice in a team fight, and because this all does go through VKB, means that this Viper will do a lot of damage and do a lot of control in these next upcoming engagements.
Bottom tower is under attack.
So Funzy greatly appreciating EG grouping up and just constantly splitting as 5 as the drum slowly pop. Fucking Mad will get missiled up. The missile won't hit since Fucking Mad is currently invisible. Go back will be spotted out by a storm. We'll see if EG can catch up to the retreating Quantic's forces, as Saka obviously trying to save his Moonlight Shadow as best he possibly can. Jail gonna do a bit of damage as he does not have a gem, and looks like Fucking Mad will be able to escape to safety because again the missile won't hit invisible targets. So EG again just grouping up his 5 and not getting too much accomplished, and all the while Funzy is farming up and Barrett is farming up. So ultimately Quantic coming out ahead in these small scale engagements. But EG now have the presence they need to try to push down this tier 2 tower. They have the double golem online as the arrow just going to barely lift. We'll see if Quantic actually wants to defend this. They have 4 heroes in place to try to defend this. As Vayne going to get the Fiend Script. Fear going to swap in Sakchika as he's going to pop the Moonlight Shadow immediately. And we'll see if Demon can get in position, drop that Warlock ultimate. As seems like EG have run out of detection currently, and they're going to be in a lot of trouble. The dust will be popped. Demon going to get isolated. Demon's going to take a lot of damage. Can he drop his ultimate? He cannot, as Bauer was the first one on the side of Quantic to fall, but without Demon's ultimate, that's going to be a lot of lost damage for the side of EG. Funzy going to drop one Viper Strike onto Bambo, and immediately going to turn his attention to his next target. Meanwhile, Beat is going to get purged up. He is going to die. And this game's starting to look very, very difficult for EG. It looks like the arrow just going to barely lift. Beat is trying to deny himself to neutrals, but just simply won't be enough. And EG just lost a lot of momentum with that failed engagement. They're going to have an even bigger amount of experience. And yeah, they didn't use the Warlock ultimate, but the fact of the matter is only Bauer died for Quantic. And that means the rest of Quantic picked up an even greater amount of experience in exchange. And that is going to give Mirana enough money to finish her BKB. Meanwhile, Viper getting close to that level 16. Silent getting close to his own level 16 as JS is trying to hunt down Silent. He should look to teleport out of there as Terror will spot out Silent. Silent could potentially be on the shot. Silent is most likely going to die as there is no Moonlight Shot to bail him out of trouble. We'll see if Quantic can get anything exchanged now. Looks like they're just going to do some pot shots towards this tier 2 middle. So a bit of a mistake by Silent. But still, even though Quantic are down by 4 kills, I feel like they do have the advantage just because they have a significant level advantage in this game. As you can see, the experience discrepancy is starting to approach that really significant 10k mark. As EG, they're going to smoke into Roshan. They know they can take it down. They have the Warlock ultimate, and Barret is dead, so there goes a long duration disable that can hold Demon in place. But Jail going to find himself arrowed. We'll see if Quantic looks to initiate. They are lacking the Barrets. Bambo going to give himself Viper Strike as well as Soul Catch. He could potentially die. Fear going to swap Bambo out to safety. As, wow, the Purge in conjunction with the Viper Strike as well as the Soul Catcher just obliterate Bambo. The arrow going to land onto Demon. Demon will die again before he can get his ultimate off. And he's just crumbling under the pressure of Quantic. Just some uncharacteristic mistakes. Gonna allow Quantic to say, thanks for damaging the Roshan, bros. We'll take it. And we'll be more than happy to make greater usage of this Aegis than you did.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
Now this Mirana is getting very, very scary because she has her survivability and she can start picking up some major damage. She already has the Diffuse Blade finished. Meanwhile, Jo trying to go for the Death Slayer. Still going to be rather far away. Needs that Mytho Hammer online. Meanwhile, Treant Protector probably setting up for either a Force Staff or a Blink Dagger to initiate without Overgrowth. Funzy setting up 3.8k gold. Not too sure what he'll go for. Maybe some movement speed, but Quantic already has a lot of chasing ability. He's just so damn tank. Barter has finished his Force Staff, getting very close to that level 16, where he can cast Lasso every 50 seconds and has that really, really strong 4-second duration. Meanwhile, EG, what major items are they getting close to? Not too much. You can see Demon has just not been able to make any usage of the Aghanim Scepter up on the Warlock, has not been able to drop any ultimates. And one of the annoying things about Warlock is that he has to turn around and face the enemy before he drops the ultimate, and Demon has just been turning away because he's getting stunned up. But Spirit has finished the mechanism. It's pretty tanky, but Gyrocopter only with the Yasha just not dealing as much damage, and it's a sad day when your Gyrocopter is not doing nearly as much damage as Mirana in comparison. And Viper, well, that's a double damage rune, dealing 200 damage per hit, but a lot of that is coming from double damage rune. And Silent just gonna continue to keep up the mat pressure. And we'll see if they can get a successful engagement on Silent. He's just gonna blink away to safety. As you can see, the Rain have just placed so many wards. EG just completely lost in the dark. We'll just take a look at their vision. I mean, this ward is the only ward they've been able to place, but outside of that, they have next to no vision at all. And this is just looking very, very scary for EG as this game progresses, because it's going to be more difficult for them to farm since Quantic has so many reliable forms of initiation, whether it be Barret or Lasso or Purge or even Arrow, if it does manage to snag. You know, Viper has just finished his own BKB. And yeah, there's Fiend's Grip, yeah, there's Swap, but a lot of magical damage is coming from EG, as well as a majority of the Warlock damage. I mean, the Immolation is magical, and they will get negated from the BKB, even though there are double purges to burst down the golems. As Swarm going to be used to drive Quantic away for now, but Quantic realize they have a pretty big advantage with the Aegis, as well as the severe experience growth lead that they have over EG. They're going to push in. I don't know if EG can contest this tier 2. They have the Warlock ultimate online, but do they want to drop it against an Aegis? That remains to be seen. And Quantic just going to pick up a free tier 2. We'll see if they go for a tier 3. No, they're going to turn their attentions towards the top lane and likely pick up that tier 2 instead. San has finished his Boots of Travel, so now he can just split push a lot more effectively. You can see he's immediately transitioning over to the bot lane to push out the PP equilibrium before he rejoins his teammates up on the top lane. And this might allow him to pick up that level 16, which gives him that much better lasso. Is EG going to smoke up? They know they're a bit desperate, and they have a lot of damage. We'll see if they can make the greatest usage of it. If they manage to catch out the shouting, one purge will be eliminated from the picture entirely. As you can see, EG, some clever position, gonna try to catch out fucking Mad. They will be isolating him without fucking Mad. There will go one of the Purge. Demon gonna be forced to drop the rock right now as fucking Mad will get the Purge off. You can see the Purges just immediately melted the golems. Where'd the golems go? They just were non-existent because Demon couldn't even cast it. Oh my god, Funzy just melted Demon to oblivion. I thought Demon dropped the ultimate. I for sure thought the animation went off, but Funzy picking up an ultra kill, and you can see Demon once again. That casting point of Warlock just so slow, he can't even cast the ultimate. And now EG just in an abysmal situation. Viper and Mirana just ripping holes through EG.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And now this will likely be a tier 3 and maybe even Rax or EG. They have the ultimate, so Quantic can't go too desperately.
Top tower has fallen.
But still, they're just going to take their time, just going to increase their advantage. The gold experience advantage absolutely mountainous for EG, to say the least.
Dire's top
Or
tower
deficit
is
for
under
EG,
attack.
advantage for Quantic. And keep in mind, Viper's Nether Toxin is applied to towers, albeit at a half, I guess a half rate? I don't know, that's not really a good way to explain it, but half the damage of Nether Toxin is applied to towers. So Viper actually a reasonable pusher in some sense of the word. And Quantic gonna back off, they're just gonna get all the ultimates back online. Wait for EG to make another mistake. And I don't know if that engagement was necessarily a mistake by EG. I think they were in a decent position. I was just really surprised. I thought Demon got his ultimate off, and I thought the golems just got immediately purged, but it seems like Demon just has literally been unable to cast a single ultimate since he's picked up the Aghanim Scepter around 15 minutes ago. So this is just a very grim situation for Demon in general. And meanwhile, EG just devoting themselves to grouping OS 5. They know it's difficult to farm up stacks of Bamboo in the jungle because of Barretter. But I think they should just try to take these jungle stacks and farm up with the Gyrocopters, since I think it's starting to get to the point where Gyrocopter and Weaver are the only hopes for EG in this game. Meanwhile, Jo, since he's Weaver, it's actually very difficult for Quantic to kill him down. Lincoln here is debuffing so many abilities that Quantic can use to lock the Weaver in place. And Desolator means that Jo does actually hurt, but Quantic is so tanky that can survive a lot of physical damage harassment. And you can see EG gonna group up. And this is the problem with Warlock sometimes, is that he does have to face his opponents, and also he doesn't want to really drop. He wants to get the stun effect in order to use his ultimate, because that stun effect actually is pretty effective, but the ultimate doesn't really have the best range. Yeah, it's a huge AoE, But all things considered, you will have to get close to Barret's, grab territory in order to get in range to use his ultimate on the opposing team. So it's very, very unfortunate situation for Demon as the arrow just going to barely whiff onto Beatus as Quantic rapidly approaching. Going to pop a smoke to try to catch up to EG. The smoke going to get immediately dispelled. Funzi closing in very rapidly, has a Viper Strike as well as an Eagle Song. This will be able to pump out the DPS. We'll be able to drop a Viper Strike off to Beatus. Beatus once again out of position as Barret trying to initiate. Will not get the lasso online. Did not use it as Sashka gonna duke it out against the Weaver. This is time for EG to back up, but here comes the initiation. The Warlock ultimate has finally been dropped. The ultimate's gonna purge down one golem immediately. The second golem gonna drop as Viper gonna pick up another kill. He's unstoppable at this point. Demon likely gonna be the next one to die as Viper is just ripping a hole through EG. JL gonna finally give up his first death. Fear is gonna die as well. And now it's just looking out of reach for EG at this point. Quantic have now been able to take a huge, huge lead. And EG gonna pause up. Mistake pause by Demon. And EG, they know they're in a lot of trouble. Experiencing Golgraph just absolutely... I mean, I can't really think of that many more synonyms to describe the experience in Golgraph. It's just really, really bad, okay guys? It's just really, really bad. I mean, your Barretter has a Reaver.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And I don't know, it's just looking really grim. Viper has more than double the net worth of your Gyrocopter. As Beatus will potentially get grabbed, he will get grabbed. The LP will not take nearly enough. And I think this should be the end for EG in this Dreamhack Summer Playoffs. They played pretty well, I think. I don't know if they made some mistakes, but I think their overall game plan was just not there. I thought their play was okay, but their game plan was just really not that effective against Quantic. They grouped up way too much, they burned way too many teleport scrolls to try to protect the allies. And EG gonna politely say good luck in the finals, as Quantic gonna move on to the Dreamhack Grand Finals in this Summer Classic. We'll see who they face. And next matchup, Quantic have really put on a show with some really, really sensational picks, as well as some sensational play. Gonna allow them to get themselves more money and potentially secure themselves a Dreamhack Summer Grand Finals victory. But hopefully you enjoyed that match. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.